Welcome to our next episode of Excel tutorials. In this tutorial we will be covering moving and getting around in Excel 2010. For more info visit our website at www.exceltutorials.co.za. What we will be covering in this episode is moving around and getting help in Excel, using workbook views in the zoom tools, and using windows to arrange and view data. Okay, moving around and getting help in Excel. It can be difficult navigating when you have large amounts of data. So in Excel 2010 there are numerous ways to navigate around a workbook. Firstly, to move between worksheets is quite simple. You just click on the tabs here at the bottom. You can either click on these two buttons here that says moving to the end, or this one, move to the beginning. Quite simple. You've got two scroll bars, your vertical and your horizontal. There we go. Quite easy. To go to a specific cell, as I also mentioned, you can use the name box, or you can just click on the cell and start typing. When you enter data, after you've entered data and you press enter, the cell below it will automatically be selected. If you wanted to move to the right instead of going down, press the data, then tab 200, tab 50, tab. Or if you want to move to the left, type in your data and then press shift and tab. 60 shift tab, 80 shift tab. Very simple. Okay, the find command is also in the home ribbon, but you will go to find here, or the shortcut is Control F, which I use more. Control F. Okay. Find, if you want to search for something specific, you can just type in there. Okay, Jake, for instance, a customer name. Find next and found it. Or find all, it will show all the instances where that word is located. Or I can just, let me do something else, like, there you go. It will say which book, which sheet, and cell, and then the actual value. Remember, if you work with a workbook that has several sheets, remember to check here check workbook instead of sheets. When you open Control F, this is what it's going to look like by default. So open the options, click on options, and just say workbook there. Or I can replace it. This is a very useful function. So I can say search for all the bergs and then replace it with Jake. You can say replace all here, or just replace in one instance. The go-to command I don't really use that much. This is when you've got graphs or tables in your workbook. Let me open another example. Go-to, now you see I've got all the tables here. I can just say okay, now it will go to a specific table. If you're not sure if it's a table, just click on the table and you will see the table tool. So that's how you know if it's a table or not. But I also don't use this a lot. Go to specials is quite nice. Now you can go to, it'll show you which cells have comments, constants or formulas or blanks. All of these options you have. I usually only use the top 4 ones. Let me give you an example. Or, oh yes, a shortcut for that is here. So now I can say show me all the cells that have formulas. Excuse me. There you can see formulas or constants. Oh, no cells have constants. Okay. Let me see. Conditional formatting. Also these cells. Because if the value changes here, this little icon will change. That's conditional formatting. And then lastly, help. Okay, there are several ways to access help. You can go to the icon here. Microsoft Excel help. Let's say I want to search for some function. There we go. Now it gives you description, syntax, remarks, and examples. And remember, if you're not sure what a command does, just hover over it, and it will give you a small description. Okay. Here we go. Why doesn't this one come up? And also another way to access help is F1. That's it. using workbook views and the zoom tools. Excel allows you to choose the way your workbooks display. It can be very useful to change between views while you work. For example, to check before you print your worksheet that the page breaks are in suitable place. In other words, so you can see what amount of data will be printed on each page. There are two main ways to do that. One is use the view in the view tab. In the ribbon there's the workbook views, or you can use the shortcuts over here. So you can change your layout. Let me click on page layout. There you can see. There's the page break. Now I can see what we printed on each page. If I go here, that's normal. Here's page layout like you've seen just now, or page break preview. This is the blue line. Now I can see what we printed on each page. That is very useful. Okay. And zoom, very simple again. I can use the zoom slider here, or I can use the zoom command group up here. Zoom to selection, select something, and I zoom to it. See there, the percentage changed. I can say change to 100. That's where it was. So again, these are the shortcuts for these command groups. Using Windows to arrange and view data. I've left the most exciting part of the episode for last. In Excel, you can open multiple worksheets and view them at the same time, or if you're working in a very large worksheet, you could open several copies and then view them in different parts at the same time. Okay, to do that, let's say I want to look at my source data and I want to look at product data at the same time. I can open another window. See now this one colon 3 and that's one colon 2. Then I can go to range. You can arrange your windows in different ways. Horizontal. Okay, I've got 3 copies open. Let me do that again. Here we go. That doesn't look as good. Let me use tiled. There we go. That's better. So now I've got my product and source data open. It looks like it's 2 documents, but it's actually still just one. But now I can look at different parts of the document at the same time, especially if you're limited with space on your screen. Another very, very useful function is if I have the 2 of them open, I can say, okay, synchronize scrolling. View 2 worksheets side by side so that you can compare the comments. Okay, and now you can see this button that was also on. Synchronize scrolling. Now they can scroll together. Now look at this. If I scroll down, the one below will also scroll down. That's synchronized scrolling. Especially, again, if you're limited with space on your screen, this is a very useful function. And take it off. Okay, I think that's about it. Yeah. Let me close this. Maximize this. Okay. Next thing what you want to do is a very useful feature in Excel again is freeze panes. And that's this button here. You've got 3 options. Freeze the top row, freeze the column, and freeze panes. So if you want to move down in your document, but you want your headings to say fixed, you can use this. So let's say I want to freeze the top row. See, there's all, immediately there's a black line. Notice the heading when I move down. See, it stays there. Now the same applies to the first row, or first column. Okay, let me unfreeze it. Freeze the first column. See, there's the black line. And now if you want to freeze both of them at the same time, you can do that. But remember, if you click on a cell, it will freeze everything to the left and to the top of it. So look at this little picture there. You can see the blue line. See the blue cell. So that will be frozen, and that. See, there's a black line there, and there's a black line here. Unfreeze. You can also split the document so that each pane has its separate scrolling bars. See there. But you think, okay, but wait, this is for different documents. No, it's not. See, if I scroll between the panes, it shows on all 4 panes at the same time. So if I type, you can see there. That is very nice. If you like your setup the way it is, you can always save your workspace if you want to. Then you can add it at the later stage. I don't do that because it is so easy enabling and disabling, or switching it on, switching it off. So you don't need to save it. I don't do that. So yeah, if you work with a lot of data, you can use all these commands over here. They will help you. If you've got, before I forget, if you've got the panes, if you're not happy with how they are, you can drag them. If you want to delete them, you can double click, and it applies to the panes as well. When you click on a cell, the panes will appear to the left of it, to the top. See there it is, the left top corner. That's it. That's all for today's tutorial. For more info, visit our website exceltutorials.co.za or subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with our latest tutorials. And remember, let the numbers do the talking.